everyone, and welcome back to Episode Club. Today we're going to be talking Season 7, Episode 5, Eastwatch. And joining me today, as always, is Johnny B. Crazy, aka Johnny B. Baelish. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. As you can see, Bron and Jamie Bron himself is an Olympic class swimmer. They have swam in full armor. Oh, that looks to be at least a quarter mile there. So they have done very well for themselves. But I'm doing fantastic, Southside. Thank you so much for having me on as usual. This episode is another mixed bag for me. Have some complaints, have some likes. I'm not going to lie. Even though I don't agree with what Danny did, we'll get into this later, still like the scene. Thought it was pretty badass. You know, Danny's still kick ass whether you love or hate her. So, we'll go with that. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. You know what? Hit all the buttons. Remember that shit. Hit the buttons, damn it.
Yeah, hit all of the buttons because we have to prepare for when this comes. This will probably be out Saturday, so hit all the buttons because why not? Because we have to prepare for Wednesdays while we're in season, so we'll be talking all those.
It's almost here, but doesn't even really feel like it. It's been so long. I feel numb to it. When it hits, when I see those credits, I'm gonna flip my shit because I'm ready. But my mind is like, I guess it doesn't want to fail, doesn't want to be disappointed, so it's just pretending like it's not here yet, I guess. I have no idea.
Plus we've also been covering we've covered all of the episodes minus like one or two at this point now. So it's we've kind of gotten even though people will probably troll me in the comments, I've kind of gotten numb to the theme song. I know, shoot me. But because I've listened to it about at this point now about 64 times now, it gets you. It really does affect you, especially when it's like almost every other day recently that we've had to listen to it. But that aside, we'll talk about the beginning of this episode, which is basically after the last episode, which is Jamie and Bron, and they're coming up for air, and then we see Danny deciding she wants some crispy tarlies. So,
crispy tarlies, they taste good, apparently. But with this, you could say this is almost foreshadowing with Jamie. He wants to end the war in a single stroke. You know, if he kills Danny, because Bron asks him, "What the hell are you doing, you idiot?" And he says, "He's trying to end the war." This could call to believe that maybe if Bran is the Night King, we have Jamie possibly killing Bran, or finishing the job. That would be a mind blower. I'm sure I've heard somebody say that before. I know I don't have that many original ideas, but lots of people think of the same stuff at the same time, so you can't really. But I know people have said that. I'm pretty sure. There's so many theories out there. He could kill Cersei, of course. Everybody thinks that's going to happen. I have a different theory on that, but you'll have to wait to see it. It's in the works. He could try to kill Danny again later if she turns out to be a bad guy. I'll get trolled for saying that, but if she does, that could just mean that Jamie's going to have to strike this final blow, and he may not live, right? A lot of people, I can go back and forth, but Jamie's one of the few people I could say he's definitely probably going to die. Just because he's leading up to that redemptive character arc, and he needs to save a life in order to complete his mission. Now, that might not be the only thing he does, but whatever. I think that's what's going to happen. But
Yeah, like
in my opinion.
if anything, I don't think like you could think that Jamie leans himself towards Daenerys just because that's just the big twist, but kind of said it for a while now. I feel like Jamie would be more with Sansa and the Stark sisters because of Jamie's kind of connection, so to speak, to Sansa, that being his, for all intents and purposes, sister-in-law. Even though her marriage to Tyrion wasn't consummated, it's like kind of doing that, and it's like giving Sansa almost that moniker of the younger, more beautiful queen, which a lot of people are more or less believing for it to be her rather than Daenerys. But yeah, Bronn just wants a castle, and Jamie's not gonna die until Bronn gets a castle.
Whatever. But to your point, that what you were saying kind of goes back to Jamie's respect for Catelyn Tully, actually. You know, how much respect he had for her and that promise he made. And it ties it all together with Brienne, who is reinforcing his good behavior and reprimanding him for the bad, which he hasn't really cared. There hasn't been anyone that he's cared about enough to listen to up until this point, which is interesting. You know, Bramey, all day everybody thinks Bramey's going to get together. I still want Tormund and Brienne to get together, but I can see some heartbreak action. I could also see a little funny love triangle moment because I don't know how deep they'll be able to get into love stories here in this final season, except the ones the people are already kind of together, like John and Danny and Sam and Gilly, and even Arya and Gendry is going to be interesting to see how they try to develop that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a lot of people think that Arya and Gendry will be together in the end, but what if he thinks that um, Arya being a faceless man's like, whoa, I don't want to touch that whole uh, thing. Like, I don't want, like, he doesn't want to be kind of fearful that she's going to bring some more faces home.
Well, it depends who all knows that too. Is she gonna tell him? Arya was using it almost like a weapon against Sansa.
Yeah.
We can talk. Man, it was weird. I don't know. I didn't like that. It was out of character. How are you gonna be sneaky but show someone your hand? Show someone your, yeah, I wouldn't call it forbidden magic. There's definitely secret society magic that you're not really supposed to even let people see those faces and know how it works. That defeats the purpose of you being stealthy. If someone knows that you can put on a foot, they're gonna look out for you a little more now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Sansa told anyone. She did tell Littlefinger. Littlefinger may have sent a message here and there.
Well, there
That
was
may be
little.
something that played out later after Littlefinger's death, because I do think he's set things in motion that have yet to pass. He has paid. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. See him pay the girl.
Yeah. So there was that one, but yeah, just these two. It's just like, I'm starting to more and more just be like, with Bron's character. But anyway, yeah, Tyrion just looking at all of the dead bodies and dead family members that he used to have, and Dany is like, bend the knee. This time, I'll use my dragon. Um, it's a powerful scene and it's a big power play. Like a lot of the men, the survivors, essentially, just like a lot of them bend the knee, and then there's just only like a few people left. But they obviously highlight Randall Tarley and Dagon.
How is she a liberator in this moment? Is what I want to know. To me, she has abandoned her
Motif.
goodwill in a sense. This is ruling by fear. Now she is changing up what she's done. She even said it when she left. I see why she kind of had to do it. I think she could have took a different action, didn't have to execute them in that manner the way she did. This goes back to Jaehaerys, right? How, just you don't have to always show a dragon. Just the thought of a dragon, just someone knowing a dragon's there is usually enough. And to rub it in their face and humiliate them like this, because all the other lords had to watch. This is what will happen to you. They didn't do it in private. She made a public spectacle of it. Yes, you could say that, but that's what I mean. It works for ruling by fear, but is that what Dany really wants? That's the thing. That's not what I thought she wanted. But she's gonna make mistakes. Like, I think she made a big mistake right here. And John doesn't know what happened, and we see later that's like, ugh, doesn't know what's going on, but he's still like, I don't know.
You can kind of infer what happened, because she says I had fewer enemies than I did today than I did yesterday. So he figures something had happened, but he obviously doesn't know the technicalities. Like, I didn't just go burn a whole bunch of Tarleys. But yeah, like, it's kind of turning her into Eris. Like, this is what Cersei's kind of said all along. Like, she's gonna come here and just take back what's hers, but she's gonna use her dragons as, like, her weapons, her poison, so to speak. Like, that's her woman. Like,
I don't think she's the Mad King. I would put her more in the category with Aegon the Conqueror, who conquered with fire and blood. He was a conqueror. He wasn't a liberator or anything of that nature. And that's maybe that's what she's decided she has to do in order to take Westeros. In a sense, she does. But with the Mad King thing, we'd have to see a little more descent into irrational thinking. I don't think she's gotten out of the realm of being rational. Yes, burning people alive is very radical. But rational, a lot of lords, a lot of people in this world would use that same tactic. So in this world, I would say it's rational. Is it the right thing? No.
yeah.
Is she thinking about future ramifications when she does this?
No.
I don't think so. It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing. We got to see what she's going to do here, because Tyrion had to walk through that battlefield, see the devastation, see the burning and dying men, and we hear Varys talk about this later, right? And he's going to have some sort of change of heart. I think he already has. I think he knows he's betrayed Dany during the boat sex scene, and he's like, holy shit, what have I gotten Jon into? Because he likes Jon. He respects Jon. And can you blame Tyrion for turning on Dany? I mean, this is his family. He still loves Jaime. He still, in a sense, loves Cersei. He can't help it. It's his family. And especially if she's pregnant. So, that could be the betrayal for love. And in a sense, not the love of her, but a love of his family. And I mean, she points it out to him. I don't know why I'm so long-winded today. I'll be quiet for a minute.
No, it's okay. But yeah, this whole thing of Tyrion almost having, he's like, we should discuss this, and Daenerys like, no. It's like, it's kind of her showing, obviously, she has absolute power, and that pretty much no means no. But that's like a lot of rulers. They just they just want to be liked by everybody, and if you're not liked, for her at least, you just die. Which it's not the best strategy if you want to win over people. It's like, if you don't like me, you're just gonna die. So it's not the best strategy. And then Drogon just kind of lights up Randall Tarley and Dickon, and that's kind of the end of that scene. But even Tyrion just says, yeah, you can have them think about this in a cold cell, and we probably know Dragonstone probably has a lot of cold and dark cells, because that would have been an interesting dynamic. her taking Randall and Dickon Tarley as hostages, in a sense, and bringing them back to Dragonstone and seeing then how John maybe would have reacted. It's like, because that would have been just so much, it would have not so much better, but it balances the scales a little bit for taking prisoners, in a sense. Like, that would have been a dynamic, like almost a thing of swapping prisoners, maybe? But I don't know. It's a random thought.
She didn't have a cell to throw them in. Yeah. Is she going to take them with her? You can argue, a few different points with that. And I see what you're saying. It's a tough situation. It's one she decided to do. And instead of, she's won the day, right? But what did she really do? She saved some lives, but she burnt all the food. She killed a lot more people than she saved right here.
Mm-hmm.
She might have killed most of the common folk of King's Landing, right? They're not going to have anything to eat.
No. The people that, for the people. And we see
good
this
strategy. Yeah. I mean, if you're being a ruthless, but
yeah, like if you're not going to be planning to live there, sure, it's a great idea. Just starve out a whole part of a country. Yeah, sure, it's a great idea. But when you want to try and plan to live there, not the smartest decision that she makes. And that's the one thing that just makes you want to go like, why? It's cool because it's an explosion, but it's like, yeah, all the small folk that Varys wants to talk is for, and wants to kind of rally to your side. If they were to find out that you burnt all their food, they may not be so happy with you.
And Dickon can't have a high IQ, right? Daddy, I want to burn alive with you. Like, I'm very confused.
I feel like that was just a way to trim the fat. Just to get him out, just to kill both.
You could argue it goes back to him not knowing people shit themselves when they die. Him being kind of surprised at all of this, but he has that false. What would you call it? That false thought of what a knight is supposed to be, or what a valiant warrior is supposed to be. Sometimes you have to let self-preservation take over. Survival is one of mankind's key traits. It's one of evolution's key traits in general, but right here, this is, I don't know, you could say Dickon is a victim of Darwinism.
Yeah, natural selection. But
the most love he's ever shown anyone in his entire life, Randall Tarley.
Yeah. I just feel like that was just a way to trim the fat and to get rid of this character. Honestly, I don't think it's because he's stupid. I think it was the writers just made him stupid, and just to get rid of the character so someone else, Kafka, Samuel Tarley, can rule the Reach in the end. Pretty much. The next one we get is Jaime and Cersei, and her reveal about her being revealed too that it was Olenna that was the murderer of Joffrey.
Yeah, and this is, wow, this has got to be tough for Cersei to hear. And you would think, honestly, a lot of people wouldn't have told her this. A lot of, not for the fact, like, if you really love someone, sometimes you wouldn't even tell them this, just to spare them the heartbreak. Because I don't think it would have left that room.
No.
But Jaime has to defend Tyrion. Jaime loves Tyrion. And him finding out that Tyrion did not kill Joffrey, this changes everything. And we see later, why he doesn't split him in half. This is a big key to it. And also doesn't, Cersei's going to fight to the death rather than surrender the throne, and if death is imminent, maybe she takes it into her own hands, but I won't get into it more than that. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, after this,
it's
she doesn't even really care. He still killed their father.
Yeah.
Which
I think it's the idea of when Jaime talks her through it and says Olenna did it because who would make Olenna the true ruler of the Seven Kingdoms? Our eldest son, Joffrey, or Tommen with Marjorie? It's like, what? And it's really explained to her that's like, yes, Joffrey, like everybody, not just you, everybody beside you believed that Joffrey was would have been a bad king, and Tommen would have made Olenna a very wealthy person if she had been alive and she had ruled properly. So it's that her realization that she kind of has been after Tyrion and Sansa for so long, but the person that was in her house the entire time was the person that ended up killing her son. And it's heartbreaking for Jaime to kind of like come up with this and be like, yeah, this is who killed our son. And yes, I went to kill her, but she explained it to me well enough that, yes. And I think it's also her face is almost just like not the satisfaction, but the understanding of knowing that is the person who killed Joffrey. Probably because she never knew that she was going to find out, or she always knew it was one person, but to find out it's someone else is just completely different. But it's just like hit you in the feels a little bit.
Yeah, it does. I would agree with that. She has trouble coming to terms with it. Who wouldn't? It's more than, throws all of your rage up in the air. You have to, I don't know, just so many emotions there. She's lost every damn thing. You got to feel for Cersei a little bit. And Jaime.
Yeah. Yeah, because it throws up all the balls in the air of, I have to kill Tyrion now, because, I can still try and kill him, but it won't be for that specific reason, and going after Sansa won't be for that specific reason anymore. So two people that are on her hit list, because Cersei has her own hit list, not just Arya. It's just kind of just like, well, they're not really on my hit list, but they're still on my hit list, but just for a different reason now.
Well, I mean, you got Sansa, Tyrion, Dany, Jon, and now Jaime, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least I could probably think of some more. I'm sure she wouldn't mind seeing the Hound die, but we'll move on.
Bran. Yeah, so many.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jon and Dany, we get the obligatory Jon on a cliff scene, and then him seeing Drogon flying, and then we get the touchy touch moment of Jon interacting with Drogon for the first time. And
I feel like this reiterates Dany's going to die for me, and Jon's going to be riding Drogon. Throughout history, Balerion the Black Dread had many different riders. Dragons often have, if Dany dies, the dragons are not going to die. People like that goes completely against every book canon thing. Like, they're not going to go that far away from book canon. If Dany dies, it doesn't. We could still have Drogon and Jon at the end. I would say that would be pretty damn cool. I wouldn't.
Aegon the Conqueror or Aegon the Seventh and Balerion the Black Dread come again.
Yeah, I could. I would I wouldn't put that past the ending for there to be a John and that dragon left. Rhaegal will probably die. But during the Dance of Dragons and the battle over, I want to say the God's Eye. No, it wasn't the God's Eye. Oh, I can't remember the
Dragon?
battle. Was it Tumbleton? Oh, there was a few battles, but we had a couple of one-on-one with Daemon Targaryen, Rhaenys, and who was the other Targaryen? Either way, one of them survived, and the dragon, even though they were hobbled, and I believe Aegon II was the one who survived and was burnt horribly bad. And Daemon survived as well, so he ended up dying while killing Aemond One Eye over Harrenhal, which was just fantastic. I can't wait to get back into Fire and Blood, honestly. But it goes back to that. I think Dany could drop. That's my bold prediction of the day. That's all. That's all I got to say about that.
It's a completely valid one because Drogon's the most infamous dragon that we have in the show. Yes, Dany has 3, but Drogon's the one shown on screen the most. Drogon's the one that book readers and non-book readers, like just show-only watchers, connect to the most of Dany's dragons. Some people entirely forget that Dany had 2 other dragons up until they mention them back up, or they show them not in a long distance shot, especially with the next episode. There's the emphasis of the 3, so it's entirely valid. And if the whole idea of an Aegon came and conquered the 7 kingdoms, built the Iron Throne, the Aegon the 7th will come and take the throne down. It's with a dragon fire.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not the first one to say that Jon will ride Drogon either.
No.
I'm pretty sure 1 million people said that after he touched Drogon. I'm just throwing that out there that's a pretty bold prediction, but a lot of people see Drogon melting down the Iron Throne, which nice symbolism, but we'll get into that more tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just because Dany hasn't really seen anybody else interact with her dragons. It's mostly been just we see Jon interact fully with Drogon for the first time, and it's Dany recognizing that somebody else can come this close to the dragons besides Tyrion and not be affected, because the dragons have been around other people. It's just the fact that Drogon let Jon pet him is something to talk about. And I know this was a big TV moment when the show had aired. A lot of reaction to this.
Wasn't it cool watching the behind the scenes and just touching a styrofoam head?
Yeah, a gray styrofoam dragon head. Yeah, it's for them. It must be so weird just to play to something that that there is not real, but when you see it again, you reacting to it that it's just there. It's just like, huh?
Well, you just have to tap into the imagination realm. Quick plug
to the imagination realm. Check out all of their stuff. The link will be in the description for them and their Facebook and Twitter and blog, all that stuff. But Johnny, when you first watched this, how of a moment was this for you?
I don't know. It's kind of expecting. Season 7 was ruined for me. I told you. All the spoilers ruined it. There weren't many surprises. Actually, this was one of the cooler moments of the episode. That and Clovis, that was fantastic.
Clovis, yeah, and And then we get John and Danny talking about what she did while she was away on Dragonstone, as well as the dragons. She says,
Well,
"They're beautiful, aren't they?" And he says,
just a little. Oh, sorry.
"Oh, they're beautiful, aren't they? Yes, they are. Gorgeous beasts. They're not beasts to me." It's like,
Well,
I said,
beautiful is not the word I would use to describe them. Is one thing he says. It has to be a mix of fear and awe. And I don't know. Are they beautiful? They're really cool looking, and beautiful is in the eye of the beholder. It's hard to say. In a sense, yes, you would say they're scary, but they're beautiful in their own sort of way.
it's a
Cool as
majestic
hell.
creature that's just like never came into existence until she birthed them. And then they talk about pretty much warfare a little bit and coming back to like killing people. And then we get Jorah meeting with John and Danny. John becoming.
Khaleesi reunion.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's not much to this other than, Jorah does not like John there. Some more competition for him. I got through the grayscale, Khaleesi. You could at least go on a date with me. Nah.
Even John in the scene's like, "Who the fuck are you? What are you doing here?" Yeah, it's just because she's still like, "Oh, you're alive," kind of thing, and John's just like, "Come on." You can see John's like having the "come on, really?" Because this is when I think she asks him about being stabbed in the heart again, and he's like about to say something, and he just gets interrupted. Also, as some people named Jorah in the scene, it's like Jorah the cockblock. But anyway,
Well, he wasn't successful.
no.
I say John's more of the blocker.
Bran warging a whole bunch of ravens. And it was not until like this kind of rewatch that I was like, is Bran watching stuff that happens next episode? Because if you look at the circle, like they're all in the circle, and then there's that one specific island that was in the Beyond the Wall episode. You'll see it in the second. I was just like, huh? It's like, is he seeing the thing that's supposed to? It'll come out in a second.
Maybe, and any information he has, the Night King may be able to gather from Bran's mind, just because Bran's so close to him as far as warging the birds. I don't know. It kind of maybe they're heading there, but I feel like he already set that place up.
Because look, that's
Now is the Night King standing on that? Or
he's with the rock. He's on the horse with the rock, and then he just looks. See, and he's looking at all the birds.
Oh, okay. So that might not be him in the middle, or is that him in the middle?
No, it was him because you know how he was on the mountain in the last or the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
It's them. I guess. Look, he was looking down at it or whatever. Because you'll see it in because look, there's like the people on the thing, and then he was on the other side, like way over there. I can't see it, but they're like.
I thought that was the Night King right there, but now looking at it, it does look like a group of people. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, because it's there, and it's like them because they're all down below. Like the whites were all in the circle below. So.
Maybe I wouldn't doubt it. I think we'll see a little bit more of that.
Because we're not sure if Bran can see into the future very much, but he is connected to the future / past with Willis / Hodor. So it doesn't surprise me if he saw Jon like this before it happened, because there wasn't any ravens.
Well, who the hell said Benjen there? Benjen isn't just alive. In the books, he's definitely being controlled in a sense by Brendan, the three-eyed raven. So
maybe that's why.
Yeah. You could say right here is maybe when Bran decided to send Benjen. And it makes you wonder if Benjen can just stand in the middle of them and they don't even know he's there because he's still dead. So he wouldn't put off, but then you argue that the Night King's looking through every single one of those eyes. Man, that is a tough job if you are.
Yeah, 1,000 eyes in one, or plus, more and more each day. And Bran, gotta send some ravens. The Maester's reading all of the scrolls that kind of come through, and they talk about the Kraken, or the Drowned God, rising up to kill Aegon the Conqueror, among a few other.
King Lodos. You didn't know?
Yeah. And like the Children of the Forest, and then they mentioned that there's a boy that can see into the past, meaning Bran. And Sam kind of pipes up a little bit about this. So
he does, and well, they're prone to. I can't think of his name right now. Hold on.
Ebros?
Yeah, Archmaester Ebros doesn't seemingly kind of believes him here, but they're taught not to believe this, and it makes you wonder how much they actually take it into account. And it seems like there are some people in the know and some that aren't. Now, I've had a recent thought, and I feel like they may bring someone from the Citadel back into this because I feel like this is important to them. And Sam even says there's a book somewhere. There has to be one just sitting there gaining dust on the shelf that says how to defeat the Night King. They haven't found this book yet. Sam seemingly left without this book, unless he's just going to be going through some kind of scrolls next season, which could happen. Or we could see someone like Marwyn come out. Marwyn the Mage, Archmaester of the Citadel, and the Magic Branch. He's a little bit shunned, but we could see a representative of the Maesters, because once they realize that this threat is actually imminent, I do believe they will want to try to take action to save all their knowledge and save Westeros. Or you could just say they want to kill all the small folk and who cares, but I think they would want to save.
No, they'd want to save a few people. And you can't also forget the paper mites, because that was the thing a couple episodes ago. It's like, because the books are getting old, and you can't forget the paper mites. But yeah, Sam is, and they also keep the fact that Randall and Dickon have been burned from Sam because they received that raven. So I wonder who wrote it. Was it some general in the army, or was it like Jamie who found this out? Like, I'm trying to remember, because it's like they received a raven that Randall and Dickon are dead, unless Sam's mom wrote it. But how would she know? She'd have to go and find out and then send it to the Citadel.
Well, you could say maybe there was a raven sent from Dragonstone, but why would... I don't know, that is interesting. But as we do know, the Grey Rats have spies everywhere like everyone else does. So I think someone got away. Someone went to a nearby town, said what happened. It's possible. I'd have to think about it for a second, but that's a good catch. I didn't, with everything else that's going on with this season, that was, it's easy to overlook that. That was a good catch.
Because it's like, because they obviously don't tell Sam, so Sam's mom probably couldn't have read it because she would have sent him a raven as well. So yeah, there had to be someone on the field or a spy for the Citadel that sent the raven. Like, I don't know. It's my one weird little thought.
I guess Jamie and Bronn wouldn't even have known.
No, because they were gone by that point.
I mean, maybe Danny wanted everyone to know, but then why do these other people not know yet? I don't know.
Because they don't read who it's from, though. Because
I
it's...
guess. I guess I'm not gonna think about it too hard, I guess.
No. But it's just a weird thing to, like, be like, who sent the raven? Because that's a huge thing. Like, do you have the heart to tell him yet? It's like, nope. He doesn't need to know yet. But speaking of more ravens, we get Varys and Tyrion having a conversation about raven scrolls, and Dany and her being impulsive is a word that's kind of tossed around. And Varys says, you need to find a way to make her listen. So, and I think this is the only time Varys has ever drank on screen in this scene. And it's a stressful chug of the wine too as well.
Yeah, we've never seen him this scared. I think he sees Ares come again. He's afraid of that happening because it started off very small with Ares. And you know how Varys doesn't like the fire. He doesn't like Melisandre. He doesn't like magic. Dragons are magic. This goes against him wanting a Targaryen on the throne, so to speak. But I don't believe it's completely against dragons. But if you're going to use them to burn people alive, he's definitely seemingly not down with that. And what could Tyrion do? What could he do to stop her? Could he tell Jon off to the side, hey, you need to sleep with her to calm her down? Or, I mean, that's a tough deal to kind of stretch that. But maybe we've yet to see it. Or maybe maybe Tyrion has taken a preemptive strike. Maybe Varys has. You know, I feel like, I don't know, Dany may be the only person he has until he finds out about Jon. That's when I feel like he's gonna flip. I don't necessarily think he's playing to Cersei. The only reason being, I don't see her ever forgiving him.
No.
Not Cersei. So I would say he's right there. He's stressed out because he's stuck with Dany for now, and he's freaking scared that she's gonna be a tyrant. He knows her, but not. He knows how fickle people can be and how people can change on a dime and things happen.
Small folk.
So yeah.
And he knows that the small folk, pretty much any day, they can switch on you. Whatever, what is it? Wherever the tides flow in is where they usually go. But yeah, it's entirely possible that Varys is like trying to plant something with Tyrion, and there could have been that whole thing of planting Jon at her door, but who knows? We'll see come 2 days from now, or 3 days from now, what this is, as of recording this. And then Jon gets the raven that Arya and Bran are alive. Why didn't the idiot write back? Because Sansa says in the last episode that she hasn't heard from Jon in weeks. Why didn't the idiot write back? Come on.
Well, it still should take probably that long for a raven to get to Winterfell, honestly. But hey, who cares? Right here, I didn't know Arya was alive. I didn't know Bran was alive. And maybe he's counting on him not having to be the heir. Maybe Bran, but you could say he already left it to Sansa. This just puts an lots of emotion on his plate. This is more loved ones that he has to care for.
His baby
Just
brother.
more stress for Jon in general. And then they talk about bringing the White to King's Landing, and this is a hell of a plan.
Jorah in this, thinking he can do it all by himself. It's just, oh god. And Dany with her whole thing is like, I'll go if the queen lets me. Jorah. She's dismissed you a couple times. And it's like seeing the Breaking the Dead to King's Landing. John's like, well, if I do it, she's not going to show up. So Tyrion's like, I'll go do it. We'll go, but I'll spearhead this mission. And yeah, Dany lets her prisoner John free.
She also lets, I know he's her hand, but you're letting someone go to talk to someone they love still. You're letting the enemy in almost. I don't think this is a good decision by Dany to let him go, especially given, was it the last episode or episode before when she talks about, I think you're, how do I know you've not been working with your family the whole time?
It's they kind of talk about this a few different times, but I think it was in the last episode, The Spoils of War, where she's talking about this. It's before, I think, or right after John's still in the mines or whatever for mining for Dragonglass, is they talk about that, as well as they talk about succession. So, yeah. It's like prisoner John is now free and he gets to use his own boat and get back Longclaw because he hasn't had that for like all season for the last couple episodes. But yeah, like, I'll go, and Davos is like, I'll bring you to King's Landing. You just gotta do it in a smuggle way, and they'll eventually head off. But John's like, I gotta go do this because I gotta be the rock star. No, I'll go. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's a rock star. He's a Westerosi rock star.
And then we get, I guess, a meeting in the Great Hall at Winterfell, and they're all talking about John's being a shitty leader, Sansa. Like, they're all complaining. And Arya's like being like, well, they're all saying that John's a shitty leader. Why didn't you back him up? Again, sowing more discourse and making us all want to pull our hair out because this is not how this is supposed to go. Yeah, it's kind of annoying that this is how it's kind of come to this season. It's just these two have to kind of fight, and it just makes the whole, like, you needed that stupid like 5-minute scene where they're like, let's devise a plan. Like, it would have been so much better. Or at least them all go into one room and close the door. We didn't need to see the device of the plan, but just them all go into the room, close the door, and something like that. But
where does this scene end at, so I don't go too far?
it's her, I think, talking about, yeah, just why I'm backing up John, I'm pretty sure. And that they think that they'll be
I know what they're talking. I just mean, oh, okay. Well, basically, Santa just hears them out and talks about what being a good leader is. That's it.
Yeah, it's just kind of and then yeah, we get Tyrion and Davos arriving, and then yeah, just the Jaime Bronn Tyrion scene, which was annoying because it's like, I could split you in half, but I don't. And it's just, why? Not much to say about that. It's just besides the fact that like they get to see each other again for 5 minutes. But
Yeah, Bronn being sneaky as well. The look on Jamie's face, pretty priceless. Bronn does tend to get away with disrespecting everyone all the time. You think he'd be dead by now. Cersei will probably get a hold of him in season 8.
Yeah.
Just a contentious little reunion. You know, Tyrion tries to play the pity card. Jaime isn't having it, but apparently Jaime hears him out eventually. And that's pretty much it. It's a lot of
short scene.
Nothingness for a bit.
Yeah, and the whole thing of later when Cersei talks about this, it's just like, I talked to Bronn. It's like, that was off screen, you nins. But we get Davos seeing Gendry for the first time, which, woo, like one of the coolest TV reappearances that the show's had. And plus, you got to get Robert's bastard with Rhaegar's son in one scene.
And the Baratheon Warhammer out of nowhere. That's not suspicious. You're making a Baratheon Warhammer. No one's paid attention to that, even though it is really cool. He's been waiting this whole time, and we get a little montage of blacksmithing, which we'll see in season 8. And Gendry's definitely gonna make dragonglass weapons. I could argue that you don't need a blacksmith to do this, but I think he might be able to make some really cool things coming up here in season 8. Valyrian steel sword, don't think so, but could there be a blueprint for something that Sam finds that Gendry could make? I'm not going to throw that out. That's super tinfoil, but it could happen. They're setting up him to make something here. And you could say Lightbringer, but if it is, I just don't think it's going to be a Valyrian steel sword, but it may be something just as special that they may blindside us with. But what do I know? Not much.
No, you know a lot. I feel like with if there is like they make Gendry make Valyrian steel, it's going to be strategically in a book that Sam picked randomly off the shelf, and it's like, this is how I make Valyrian steel. Okay, like it'll be that dumbed down. It's not going to be like, oh, I have to go back to the Citadel to find another book, or it's not going to be in the Winterfell library because that got burned down.
Well, you think it has to have Valyrian steel has to have dragonglass in it, in my opinion. Like somehow melt. I know they won't say it's after Damascus steel, but we have to put a little bit of magic in there because this sword is definitely different, and we know what dragonglass does. In the books, it like melts them. It's so really cool. Their armor melts, and then you could see their like pale, icy skeleton. It's almost translucent. It's very cool. But it seems to me that that's definitely how, like a rough way I would say you make it is dragonglass, steel, and dragonfire, and I guess a spell or two, right? It's what some of the legends say. They're spells, but it could just be intent that's put in. But you have Melisandre. They could maybe have some sort of spell to throw in there. Oh, I know of this spell. We are getting very fan fiction in here, or maybe I am. Sorry, but I don't know. It could be cool. I don't know if they're going to go that magical, but I would like to see something besides
the war.
Gendry's cameo, and then
the shirtless cameo.
Yeah, he's a fighter, but I don't think his ultimate purpose is to fight.
He's a strong runner. That's
yeah, and I mean, is Clovis right after this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they nickname him Clovis.
I know, which is funny. I think Davos, the slick talking Davos, very good. The fermented crab, you gonna put a hole in that chainmail if you don't watch it. And it was really good, but they set Gendry up here to fight. I mean, like, he kicked their ass, but later he doesn't do anything. He just hands his hammer over like a bitch. Like, oh, here you go, take my hammer. It's cool, bro. He gets threatened to get banged by Tormund because there's no women around. He's a pretty man, but
they're both pretty men.
But, I just feel like I was built up a little bit right here and let down with that Warhammer. And then even the Hound using it wasn't as good as I liked.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's cool. This is a cool scene. One of the cooler scenes of the episode. And what bothers me is Tyrion dressed the way he is, acting like he's gonna not be noticed, like trying to be inconspicuous in the finest attire. This goes back to Varys says you walk like a rich person, and he just does this like that's gonna stop anything, dude. You're a dwarf in rich ass clothes. Like you couldn't
Yeah.
even wear rags, man. And even Davos, he's dressed up a little too much too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's a little too clean, you know. If we go back a few seasons, like everybody's dirty as shit. You start seeing like people have their teeth are messed up. Now it's like some Crest white strips just made it into Westeros all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah, like Tyrion when he's in Pentos or whatever, not Pentos, but when he's in Essos, he has like the hood over and all of the stuff. It's like, yeah, just like go back to that aesthetic for like 5 minutes. It's yeah, it's
Something. I mean, he looked like the richest dude in King's Landing.
well, he is one of the richest.
Dressed to the nines, bro.
And yeah, Clovis does his thing, and shout out to Baby Ramsey and Clovis, the babies for drinks and those things, because they're funny. Anyway, yeah, it's just Gendry and getting them back to Dragonstone is what they do now. But the next we get is Tyrion. Yeah, Tyrion showing up and I'm leaving, and fucking Tyrion, them leaving, and then we get the pregnancy reveal. Bum bum bum. I don't know. Like again, I don't know if this is actually pregnancy or it's just symptoms of pregnancy. Because in season 4, she said she's been listening to Tywin for 40 years. So it's hard to say if she's like 43, 44. What? Sorry?
I don't know. Never mind.
It's hard to say if it is pregnancy or if it is something else. But yeah, there's a baby reveal or a soon-to-be baby reveal happens, and it's another manipulation tactic that Cersei uses. I know your thoughts on this with if this baby is to come to fruition or not, but
What if Qyburn helped Cersei get pregnant in some weird sort of way, and this is some sort of experiment? Maybe this baby ends up being dead inside of her. Night King gets close. There's an undead fucking baby inside of her. I don't know. That just kind of hit me. That would be insane. And then Bubba Husky thinks that the mountain may rip that baby out of her body, and that's what kills Cersei. That would be fucking wild. I think Qyburn is up to something because he does not serve Cersei. He serves the higher mysteries. He serves the human anatomy in all weird sorts of ways. He is like Leonardo da Vinci times 10 as far as him taking corpses and doing experiments on corpses. Like Leonardo da Vinci was brilliant. That son of a bitch was morbid as hell, man. That's what he did in his spare time. He dissected bodies. It's kind of is a harken to Qyburn and what he's actually doing here, because how advantageous is it for him to have Cersei pregnant? Maybe, but he could make a fucking mistake at this point. Right? He could make a mistake. And he's beholden more to himself. He wants to keep Cersei in power, but I wouldn't put it past Cersei to beg him to help her get her pregnant. This whole, is there anything you can do? I'm sure there's something he could try.
Like a lover's antidote or something like that.
Yeah, and I don't know if they'll go with that, or they might have to do some sort of flashback, or him check up on it, and she'd tell him like, I thought this was gonna work, I thought you told me this would work. And then maybe that's why the mountain turns on Cersei, because he ultimately is for Qyburn, so whatever. I need to shut up, it's going too long.
No, it's okay. But yeah, it's just manipulation tactics at its finest by most people. And then we get a cute scene. The two people that they're like, our fathers were BFFs. It's like, not really. And then Davos basically stating that he's too old and that for this. And he's ready to, he's like, no one listens to me. I've grown old to a ripe old age. And then just pretty much after this, off to sail for Eastwatch.
What are you talking about? Bobby B and Rhaegar were best friends. I'm joking. No, it's just a fact. Oh, our dads are friends. Let's be friends too. It was childlike, I will admit that. Jon does accept him very eagerly. But maybe, this is a chance for Jon to, what would you call it, be a little bit sentimental here.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't get many opportunities for that.
No.
So it's nice to see non-brooding Jon for 2 seconds.
Yeah. And the fact that they're third cousins, isn't it? Third cousins, I think. Something like that, yeah. So it's just funny. It's like, these two are family, even though they're their fathers are obviously different. But yeah, it's funny. And it's the callback to leaner, shorter thing, or the fatter, taller thing. But yeah, they all leave, and we get Dany saying, I'll miss you, basically, to Jon. And Jon's like, sure, bye.
I know you will. Jon's already put the worm in her, the earworm in there. She's just oh, Jon Snow. And Jorah, he's gonna do anything for his Khaleesi.
I'll miss you, Mormont.
Better than Jon.
Yeah, Tyrion, I'll miss you, Mormont. I just got you back, but I'll miss you again. And yeah, Dany doesn't like it that her new Boosang is on the run.
Getting that coin.
Yeah, to keep
Was
them
it
safe.
Copper Groat? I think that's only in Westeros. I don't know.
It's some sort of Pentoshi coin, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, they just have their goodbye scene, and Jon doesn't look away. It's just like, I'm on a mission, a man on a mission. Let me, look at her.
When
Those
did
eyes.
Dany go to the tanning bed?
I don't know. They gave her a darker foundation that day or something. Yeah, look at those eyes. She is like just guffawing over him, but not in a public perspective. So they gave Amelia the notes to be like, act like you're in love.
Loins are aching, huh?
Yeah. They gave Amelia a script, the notes of act like you're in love, please. Jon's just like, bye. Bye, friend. See you later. But then we get Sam reading and Gilly reading, and it's Gilly reading about the annulment that Prince Rhaegar had with his wife and the marriage to Lyanna.
Look, Prince Rhaegar was pretty cool, okay? He was a horn dog who had him a couple of wives and couldn't have enough children. Rhaegar was a complete, like, everybody thinks Rhaegar was this great dude. No, he was a horn dog, man. He had some good qualities and is far better than Aerys, but Rhaegar, I'm sorry, man, that dude, For prophecy, for a book, he put everybody's lives in danger. He put his children's lives. He fucking just gave up his children's lives for the most part. I know he
Very
didn't
young.
see it that way. He was a hopeless romantic, but he just he let those feelings, those emotions get to him. I think that's where John gets all this brooding from, is from his daddy.
Rudy.
But this is kind of, and it really pissed me off when I first saw this that Sam just overlooks the whole annulment. He's like, I don't care how many shits.
Yeah.
15,000 whatever
18,472 shits.
steps.
The steps. Yeah, it's just Gilly. It's just like she says everything right. So there's annulment from Prince of Vaga, secret time, secret ceremony, and darn. And the fact that he doesn't pick that up, it's just like, unless it was supposed to be a thing of an earworm for later, but
He does later, and he just says,
I read it in a book.
Yeah, well,
Like,
Brad
you didn't
might
read
not
it. It
have
was
that,
Gilly
but
that read it.
he didn't read that. He never read the part about Liana. Neither did Gilly. Didn't read that to him, so he must have read the book later and then decided to think of it. I don't know what. I don't know why I would think John was married, but I think this would be a big deal and be in the back of his mind. I don't. Yeah. I see how it happened works out as far as this goes. This makes sense. Even though it did piss me off that I wish he would have caught it somehow, or at least, I don't know. The more I think about it, they actually did this right.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't something that he's actually looking for at the time. Yeah, it's interesting, but he has way more important issues. He doesn't realize how important that is.
Exactly. And it comes to pass that, sure, Sam will write the book, but Gilly will read it and she'll speak it. But yeah, we get Sam going back into the library and getting more books and stealing some more book courses. But Baelish, there you are. You're on screen and you're talking to a mysterious young woman. Is just like, what? And then the whole thing with the letter again is come to pass. Sends his letter to Rob, and it's just, my God, why is this storyline a thing? So
We just see basically Baelish setting her up here, and it's hard to believe that Baelish is this stupid. Hard to believe that Arya is this stupid. Going along with it, whatever. She finds it in the hole with the sheep shift, right? That's where the sheep shift used to be put. And, hook, line, and sinker, at least in our minds, especially without that deleted scene. How much can you really say about it? She picks a lock. I don't know what else to really say about it other than,
no.
she's definitely running in Winterfell in the preview. Like these halls right here, that's where she's running. That might be the actual hallway right there. Now that I look at it, you see what I mean? That's the window and everything, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So,
there's not much to say.
Holy smokes! Littlefinger as a white. Has anybody thought of that?
No, everybody just thinks she already chopped off his face after she sliced his throat.
Well, just because his face is gone doesn't mean his bones don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm calling it right now. Littlefinger coming back as a white. Sansa.
That's like a scoff. It's just, you're right. Anyway, then we just get all of our suspects for next episode in Eastwatch. And Tormund, who do you need to convince? The one with the dragons or the one who fucks her brother? And Tormund's like, and John's like, both. And Tormund asks about the big woman, and why didn't Jon bring the big woman?
Yeah, nobody even answers him, really. That kind of makes me mad. Come on, Tormund has needs too. Tormund wants to be in love. Tormund wants to be normal. I mean, come on. We love this guy. Give him a little bit of leeway here. Don't ignore Tormund when he's talking about Brienne the Beauty, his lady love, who's going to make giant babies with. Better watch it.
Like, you brought all of these young people, but you didn't bring my lady? Jon, shame on you. And then we find out that Thoros, Beric, and the Hound are in the jail, and Jon's like, well, you're a good fighter, and you're a good fighter, so let's go. And we're all on the side of the living, so let's go, bitches.
Yeah, we're all together. We see the merry band, that last hero and his 12 companions, whom, well, during the long night, then they meet with the children of the forest. They never ended up even living. I gotta look back into the last hero, but that doesn't even come into play later. But you may think that comes into play after watching this episode and not seeing the next ones.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, even though I think if I counted it, it is Jon and 12 companions when they go out. A few red shirts, right? They die. We have Thoros die later.
Yeah, there's at least 4 red shirts that show up.
Yeah, this is really just the build up, and Tormund seeing Jeor Mormont's son. As, yeah, I don't know. It's just everyone kind of it's punching you in the face with everyone getting over their personal feelings and coming together, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the very basic position you have here, or basic thing that's happening.
Mm-hmm. You're Mormont, like the last Lord Commander? And Beric. And we see Beric and not Beric, Thoros and Jorah have a quick conversation, because we know that they used to fight with against the Ironborn, or against the Greyjoys. Why can't this thing work properly? Yeah. And there they go, off beyond the wall, which was the episode we covered the other day. So, Johnny, what do you rate this episode? Your final thoughts? All of the usual stuff.
Well, final thoughts is this episode was. Final thoughts were this episode. It was okay. I'd give it a 6.5 Barrack eye holes. And I mean, it got everybody where they needed to go. People got pulled together. We saw the Cersei plot line play out a little more, and possibly she's pregnant. Qyburn's not going to tell her she's pregnant when she's not pregnant. I think it's pretty much like, after watching this, knowing Qyburn knows what he's talking about. Now, is she pregnant with a normal baby? I don't know. Did Qyburn help her get pregnant? Fucking possibility, because she's going to do anything to defeat this prophecy. She doesn't want anyone to defeat her, right? And to have her whole life known to not be able to control fate is probably one of her worst fears, and she's seeing everything fall before her eyes. With people going beyond the wall, we know what happened there. There's not much I wouldn't say there's a bunch of meat to talk about there. We know what happens. It's pretty straightforward. It's all, action, hero-y stuff that's you don't have to think too much about.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, but that's not what I watched the show for. It was okay. I mean, I still love the show.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, yeah, you got to catch us tomorrow. Well, don't know when this is coming out, so
probably Saturday.
Yeah, so Sunday. episode club. We're doing that. Then immediately after the episode, I believe at 10:15 Eastern, I'll be on Secrets of the Citadel. So come check that out. 2 p.m. Eastern on Mondays, every Monday after the episode, we'll be doing Nooners of Thrones, talking about the current episode of Game of Thrones that has just came out. And then Wednesdays, episode club, right, Sasa? And then Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, I will be on Top Shelf Fandom with Mackenzie L. Burns, I believe. So
And
we
Axel.
have a lot of things coming up, and I have a few quickies coming out, hopefully. At least the Cersei one, Cersei prediction. So stay tuned, Joe. And I'll get that Littlefinger script down pat. It's hard to talk in that voice for a long time.
I think you'll do it, and you'll do it amazing, and it will go viral. But yeah, I would rate this episode 7 merry men and their malarkey adventures. Yeah, the final kind of thought about this is like it's a kind of a good episode. We get some cool reunions, cool people coming back into the story, but there's some things you just kind of have to go about. But a good episode all in all. Make sure to check out us talking about the next episode 706. That was on Wednesday. We did a live stream about that, Johnny and I. It was really good. And next, can't wait for new Game of Thrones material to show up on our screens so soon. And with that, we will see you all in the next one. Maybe we actually show up. Who knows? Bye, everybody.